Flusha is known for a number of things, one of them being his exceptional use of the HE grenade. We can see he had the best stats by actually a considerable margin at IM Katowice when you combine the mollies and the HEs together. And I picked Cobblestone for this video because I think Cobblestone's a very interesting map, one with not too many tight choke points, so I was very interested myself to see how he's very effective with the HE on this particular map. Unsurprisingly, he heads towards the A site on the long on CT, which is where the HEs are more effective because it is quite a tight area, very small choke points coming through. But to understand exactly how he uses it on the CT side, we have to walk through how Flusha actually plays the CT side over on the A. Obviously, he plays here by himself very often. We can see the rest of the Fnatic side is over towards the B site. To start off with there, we saw an initial check towards long, and Flusha's very comfortable here, just kind of jiggling between the two until he hears some kind of flash or some kind of presence. So he often just sits here, he checks through the doors here. This is quite a powerful angle for getting information, and then he can walk back towards long. In this particular round, we'll see a flash is about to come through, a bit of presence on both sides, but a flash towards long, and this is the way Flusha normally falls out. So he's very comfortable smoking off this particular choke point, which I'd say is the second choke point coming through long. Obviously, this choke point here is the first, and this would be the second, which is just smoked off. So he's very comfortable. As soon as this presence comes through a flash over towards long, he'll just smoke off this, and then he'll have a spam through the smoke, and then he's very happy to fall away, and you can see Crims is already on his way over here. So if we go back, this is how Flusha's first use, or his most common use of the HE grenades. He waits until this particular area is taken by the Ts, and normally they'll hold this behind this smoke. As he's falling away, waiting for his teammates, he'll just throw a nade, and we can see he's going to do quite a good amount of damage on towards body. This is the first way Flusha uses his nade when he's holding towards the A area. Now obviously not all rounds play like this, so what else triggers a reaction from Flusha or triggers him to throw his HE grenade? One of them is, obviously he plays his normal setup here, same as we saw before, sits in the danger stairs. Any movement or any shadow shown towards the middle doors here, he'll straight away throw his nade. It's very hard if you get the timing throw, you throw it very quickly. There's very little time for the other team to escape. And you can see in this example here, he throws it, gets some nice damage on, and then he falls away into sight. Then the second example here, he's going to come in, he's going to spot the shadow of MBK jumping across, he's going to throw his nade again, get some damage, and then while this nade's going off, he uses his timing to reposition, as the nade obviously does slow movement, and it will deter any push from the other team. And he takes this advantage. You see he repositions towards long, uses some of his utility there to lock down that part of the map. Now a very common strategy by the T side, as I'm sure you're aware, is just take control of the A hall area. So you can just take control of this area here. It's going to limit the information from the CT side, and Flusha knows this, and he can kind of read when this is coming in. In this particular round here, we're going to hear some presence from the G2 side. If you just listen in a second, you'll hear two players spamming in towards the door area. So after that's coming through, Flusha knows this is a very likely option, so he's going to smoke it off early. So this makes it different to our first round, as it is obviously going to be earlier. His smoke is gone, so he doesn't have the option to smoke off the second choke point. And he's going to jiggle here, again looking towards the middle as he always does, making sure no one's coming in through his two choke points, trusting his smoke. One thing he knows is the time limit is obviously against the T side in all rounds of CSGO. So he knows they're probably going to get in here fast, try and get in as this smoke fades to get their map control if that's ideally what they're trying to do. So he's going to throw his grenade early as this smoke fades, and it is going to catch Apex trying to get some kind of control earlier on, and this is when he's going to fall away. One thing I've noticed about Flusha is he always wants to throw his nade in this kind of area here. He wants to throw it towards the tight choke points. He doesn't want to be holding onto it as he backs off towards sight. So he always does normally throw it earlier in the round. And again, he gets some information, so he deduces that there is likely a player behind that smoke getting ready to push in. So far, I've shown you how Flusha incorporates the HE into just his standard long defense, how he holds off that part of the map. And honestly, it's just incremental damage. So if you're a little bit kill hungry, probably a bit disappointed at this point, you probably think, I want to do heaps of damage with my nades. These little incremental damages are important, so it's something to consider, something to throw in when if you are the A defender for your team or when you usually play pugs. Now obviously Thomas Flusha doesn't get to set up like this, sometimes he gets called off, like in this round there was a fake towards B, so he didn't get time to set up like he normally does. And what happens is if they do not go towards B and he still has his nade, is he almost always just uses it straight here towards the plat area. You'll see as this take comes in, he's just going to throw it. I mean, he's just rotating in here, they're pretty confident with the B hit. But as the players start to come out, as soon as contact's made, Flusha straight away comes out and he's just nading. You see Yell takes a heap of damage from that nade, probably about 70 points of damage. And this is really the other way Flusha uses his nade. He either uses it early, when he incorporates it towards his normal holdover at long, or if he gets called over to rotate B, he just nades plat. Because if we think about it right now, plat really is the obvious choice. I mean, you can try and, I guess, lob it around here somewhere, or maybe try and lob this choke point. But again, you're at a lower chance of a player actually being there, and it is quite common when the Ts come in, especially if there's many players alive. I want them to stay up here on the plat and just kind of create an Overwatch kind of scenario, especially someone with an AWP. So if you can nade them down, it's really useful. Now Flusha doesn't always buy a grenade on the T side, he will often opt for that double flush setup, as it can be very useful for clearing out information for your team or clearing out angles so your team can peek through. So let me know in the comments below, do you guys prefer to buy a nade and a flash on the T side, or even on the CT side, do you prefer to run 2 flashes and how do you use them? I want to hear all your ideas. So obviously, using a grenade on the T side, there are things to think about. So obviously there's scenarios like this one right now where you kind of work out where the player is and it's hard for them to rotate out. So Yugi's going to peek out the danger area, and it's kind of hard for him to escape because that hole that you got to crouch through, you obviously have to crouch walk through, so you're quite slow. So Flusha is able to do some damage that way. But if you move into other rounds, when Flusha uses these grenades, they tend to be pre-nades onto positions that could be players coming in. So, such as when you're taking B in this scenario right here, he's just going to nade the stairs, which is a powerful position. But again, he doesn't know the player's there, and you can see no one actually is there in this particular round. Same with this one, pushing up towards A. They've cleared out a couple of kills early on. He's expecting rotators to try and cut him off, so he's going to nade and get into the danger area because it is a likely scenario for someone to try and peek through onto the ramp and cut off their push onto the A side. But besides that, it is very difficult on the T side because you don't have that information, because obviously if you're a good CT player, you're going to get the kill and then fall away like we saw Flusha was earlier on. He'd smoke it off, then fall away, so it's very hard to know where they're going to be and nade it unless it is some kind of pre-nade. You need to consider other things as well, such as if you do know where a player is and he is trapped, when's he going to peek? A player's not going to sit there forever and wait for you to peek them. He's going to peek you at some point, so it is quite dangerous to pull out your grenade and try and throw it at the area, because that might be the time when they peek. It's much better off to train you across around their position and just shoot them in the head as they come out. So these are all things that you need to consider when buying a HE and when throwing them on the T side. You don't have the same scenario, you can smoke it and throw it off like we saw Flusha in the initial CT side of this clip. Now lastly, if you manage to hold onto your grenade to the after plant position, they can be very powerful. Get some information, like in this scenario where Kenny has shot Lekro, you can get some nice nade damage in. It's actually very powerful in these situations because they are coming through narrow choke point CTs and trying to retake. So if you can hold onto your grenade into the after plant, it can become very useful there. But obviously you're not always going to get into the after plant, so that's something you need to consider, and whether the flashbang would be more useful in clearing out a certain position when trying to enter the site itself. One thing Fnatic never did was any nade stacks towards positions to try and clear them out. So let me know your thoughts on that, how you think they can be most useful if they're not useful at all. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.